Hey everybody, in this video I'll be playing Stargrave's Fire Moon scenario, which will be the 10th scenario for my Stargrave campaign. Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, tabletop gaming with bricks and blocks and helping to build your gameplay experience. This is the final battle for my playthrough of the 10 scenarios from the Stargrave core book, and facing off in this battle will be Captain Mira and the crew of the CROSSBONES against General Basu and the crew of the Hope Rising as the pirates make a desperate attempt to finally crush the Freedom Fighters. In this video, I'll start out by discussing the state of the crews involved in this battle, give a customized story introduction for the scenario, then start the battle. In his last battle, General Basu teamed up with System Crash to free their crewmates from a pirate-controlled prison. With their successful prison break, Gol'Bloth and the rest of the crew have reunited and continue to search the ravaged galaxy for the supplies they need to survive and one day be freed from the oppression of the controlling pirates. Their crew consists of their trooper, their gunner, their Pathfinder, their Sentry with a shotgun, their medic with her new Nano repair kit, their sniper with a carbine of +1 shoot and +1 damage, their Grenadier robot, and their Codebreaker. And at some point during my campaign, I started thinking that Codebreakers and Casecrackers carried pistols, but they carry a shotgun or carbine. So this tech officer is now carrying a shotgun. Captain Mira, Lieutenant Vereth, and the rest of their pirate crew were unsuccessful at defeating the crew of the Crash Override in their battle at the Overgrown Factory. Now, they'll stop at nothing as they try to put an end to the Hope Rising. The crew of the CROSSBONES is a Pathfinder, a Grenadier with grenades of +1 damage, a Burner with a flamethrower of +1 damage, a Chiseler with advanced picks, 2 troopers, one with a shotgun and one with a carbine, a gunner, and a Codebreaker robot that I forgot was upgraded from a hacker until about halfway through the video, and he is equipped with a shotgun. Now, let's get to the bricks and blocks of the Fire Moon, or the Acid Moon scenario as it's set up on my table, for Stargrave. Having been unable to capitalize on her ambush of the Crash Override, Captain Mira is now desperate to find General Basu and his freedom fighters and put an end to at least one of the adversaries she had been ordered to destroy. After some heavy-handed coercion on some planets known to sympathize with those who oppose the pirates, Mira has learned the general whereabouts of the Hope Rising and is moving now to that location. Aboard the Hope Rising, Gol'Bloth sensed some of their allies had been attacked by the pirates. Upon learning this news, General Basu has decided the time for running is over and they must stand their ground against Captain Mira before more innocent lives suffer at her hands. The entire crew has agreed to land on a nearby rocky moon covered with rivers of acid, and here they will make their final stand against the CROSSBONES in hopes that either they or the dangers on the moon might be able to put an end to at least one threat the pirates placed on this ravaged galaxy, and that even if it means their own deaths, their fight for freedom might inspire others to rise up against this oppressive regime. The battle on the Acid Moon begins. For before game powers, General Basu will start out with Toxic Secretion on a 13, which he fails, and then he will attempt his Armoury skill on a 9, which he succeeded with, and he will have this Trooper's Carbine deal +1 damage for this battle. And Captain Mira is going to attempt Mystic Trance on an 8, which she succeeded with, and then she will attempt Void Blade on a 9. So she will start out with her Void Blade. Taking a look at my board, there's a couple things that I changed up with this scenario. First is that it calls for a river of lava to be running through the table, and I don't have red Lego base plates, so instead I'm doing a river of acid that's running through that'll serve the same purpose as the lava. And then the other thing is that it mentions that the river should run in an X pattern, corners to corners. Doing diagonals with bricks is a little more difficult, so instead I went with more of a cross pattern. And then for deployments, instead of deploying on opposing sides, what I did was I had them deploy in the corners, basically each team on one of these islands where they have to just deploy 2 inches from the edge anywhere around those corners. And for deployments, General Basu ruled to set up first. So he is right down here. And this is his trooper with the carbine that's currently got +1 damage from Armoury. Their Codebreaker, who has a shotgun now. Their gunner, their sniper with the powered up carbine, their Pathfinder, their Grenadier, and then Gol'Bloth, the first mate. And then over here they do have 2 soldiers, their medic that has the Nano repair kit, and their Sentry. They split up their team to maybe send those guys toward the middle or over there, and then their current plan is to send most of their guys over this way, but we'll see what happens based on how the pirates are set up. Captain Mira is right here with her first mate Vereth, their Pathfinder, their Grenadier, who now has grenades of +1 damage just like their first mate, and their gunner, and their burner with the flamethrower of +1 damage. And over here they have their team of 2 troopers, one with a carbine, one with a shotgun, their chiseler and their robot hacker that are either going to be running towards the middle or maybe over here to unlock some loot. Now that the crews are deployed, I will place my loot tokens, and I'll start with figuring out if the center token will be a physical or data loot. This will be odd and this will be even. So we will be doing a physical central loot. That central loot was placed on the bridge in the middle of the table. 2 of the loots were placed easily visible on the front half of the board. One of the physical loots was placed in a cave structure toward the back corner, and a data loot was placed behind a pillar near the back table edge. And these were placed as though the table halves were split diagonally instead of parallel to the table edges. For the special rules for this scenario, if a figure ever ends up in one of these rivers of acid for some reason, they'll suffer an immediate 5 points of damage, but then can make a free move out of the acid onto dry land. And if a figure ever ends up having to activate while they're currently in one of these rivers of acid, they'll suffer another 5 points of damage and will have to make a will roll with a target number of 18, or else they'll be reduced to 1 action for that round. And if anything can levitate or fly like a drone can, they're allowed to move over the acid with no penalties. And also, since figures can jump horizontally, all the acid rivers are 2 inches wide, so as long as they have a 2-inch move to start, they can, and have 2 inches left in their move, they can jump over the acid, or they can take one of the bridges that's on the table. Another special feature about this scenario is that the lava, or in my case the acid, produces a gas that makes it hard for figures to breathe. So anytime a figure tries to make 2 moves during the same activation, they'll have to make a will roll with target number of 10, and if they fail, they're unable to make that second move and their action is lost. A question that could come up here is how this affects power moves, and if it affects power moves. I don't think it's supposed to. A power move isn't an action, it's just a free move. And even though this just says if anytime a figure wants to make a second or third move, not move action, the rest of the text goes on to talk about actions. So I'm going to allow power moves to be made without having to make this will roll. And then, any figure that has a filter mask or that is a robot can ignore this rule. And since captains and first mates can change their equipment between scenarios, General Basu and Gol'Bloth have both equipped filter masks, as has Captain Mira. Lieutenant Vereth cannot, however, because all his slots are filled up with his grenade launcher, his heavy armor, and his powered-up grenades. So, with those 3 officers, if they choose to do double moves, they will be able to move without having to make that roll. And the final special rule for this scenario is the first 2 times each player rolls an initiative roll that's divisible by 3. They have to place a Magmite on the table, and it has to be adjacent to one of the lava rivers, but at least 1 inch away from a crew member. Magmites are described more as some sort of crab-type creature in the book, but since I don't have 4 things that look like that, I just made these little rock monsters that look like something that would appear on this table. Initiative for the first round. We'll go to General Basu. And one thing I'm going to do in this video to keep things moving along is all of my rolls to see if a figure is able to double move, I'm going to do off camera. So I'll decide where I want them to go for both their moves, then I'll make the roll, and then if they're not able to do the second move, they're kind of stuck wherever that first move would leave them. General Basu will start things out by activating with this Pathfinder that's just within 3 inches and this Trooper. Let's start with having the Pathfinder run over this little bridge right over here on his first move. And I rolled off camera that he failed his will roll to make a second move, so apparently his lungs got filled with too many toxic fumes going over that acid river. Then this Trooper down here, he made his will roll, so he is going to double move actually into this doorway and pop out over on the other side. So the Trooper pops up right there in that doorway, and then General Basu is going to attempt the coordinated fire ability on his gunner. He needs a 7, which he failed, and then he will move and power move around the side of this building right over to here. Captain Mira will then activate by herself, and she'll move 6 inches over here, and then attempt the drone power, needing a 10, which she gets. So her drone will pop up right there, and then she will power move 3 inches this way. Gol'Bloth over here will activate with the Sniper and this Grenadier, and the Grenadier is going to double move over here. It is a robot, so it doesn't need to roll to see if it makes the will roll or not. Then the Sniper, he made his will roll. His double move is going to put him right up in here. Then Gol'Bloth is going to power move right over to here, and then use the lift power on the Grenadier. This works on an 11, failure by 5. He will let that fail. Then he'll do his regular move up here next to the Sniper, up underneath that roof there. Lieutenant Vereth is going to activate with his gunner and his Grenadier. His gunner will start out, he'll run 2 inches this way, which lets him jump 2 inches, and then he can go 1 more inch, and he did make his roll to be able to double move, so he is going to move another 2.5 inches over to here. Next, Lieutenant Vereth will activate and attempt the transport power on the Grenadier. His new power activates on a 12, which he gets, taking 1 point of strain. 6 inches is just far enough to get him over this river. Then he will power move and move right over here. And then with this transported Grenadier, he can actually see right through here over by this Grenadier. So he'll launch a grenade right there, which will potentially hit both of them. This isn't a hasty shot because although he was moved, he didn't make a move action. So he's got a +2 for seeing the sight, -1 for grenade launcher, and +3 for his shoot. So altogether he has a +4 to this, needing a 12. So he gets a 15. That lands right where he wants it. There's no intervening terrain from the point of impact. So against the Grenadier, he's a +3 against +3. And he defends that. And then the Pathfinder, same thing with no cover here. +3 against +3. And he defends that with a tie. Then the Grenadier is going to run down here 5 inches so that he's more than 3 inches away from that gunner. For the Hope Rising soldier phase, they'll start out with having their medic down here move through this tunnel, and she's going to move over here, and then she ended up failing her will roll, so she's going to be just stuck right over here for the turn. Then there's Sentry. He's going to try to move through the tunnel, and he also failed his will roll, so he's going to be stuck right there on his 5-inch move. Next, their case cracker here is going to run over this way and then jump 6 inches to there. And he did make his will roll, so he will finish his double move over to here. And then their gunner is going to run around here 5 inches, and then he made his will roll, so he's going to step out here a little bit. He's pretty exposed there, but hopefully he'll be able to activate early with Basu. And then for the crew of the CROSSBONES, they'll have their drone just fly over here. It's a robot, so it's unaffected by the toxic fumes. Then their Pathfinder is going to run over here, jump over this. He did pass his will roll to double move, but he's going to stay there so that, actually he'll come over here, so that he's more than 3 inches away from any of his allies, so he won't get hit by a grenade. Their burner will move over here, then he made his will roll, so he's going to loop around here to right there. Then over here, this hacker droid is going to come here, then jump over this, and it can move 9 inches total right over to there. This shotgun wielding trooper will run and jump over here, 6 inches to there, and he did pass his will roll, so he will move 3 more inches up to here. This chiseler is going to run over here on a single move and just sit there by those stairs. And then their trooper will move 6 inches around here, and then he did pass his will roll, so he'll move up a little further to right there. I'll roll initiative for the next round. That goes to General Basu, and with that 3, being a number divisible by 3, Captain Mira gets to place one of those Magmites on the board. So this goes next to the river anywhere, but more than an inch away from any figure, so they'll put it right there. General Basu over here will activate by himself, and he will start out with using coordinated fire on the gunner in front of him. He needs a 9, and he gets it that time. He will then power move and move over to here, kind of taking cover there. Captain Mira over here is now going to use dark energy through her drone, and it will cast it at that Grenadier robot. She needs an 8 for this to work, which it does. And this is now a +7 attack against +3 defense. Oh, that's not good. So that's a 26 that ignores armor, so that's against 9 armor. That deals 17 points of damage, and that Grenadier goes down before he can do anything. So Mira will choose to just stay there. She does take 1 point of strain, and then we'll go into here, where Gol'Bloth will activate with this sniper, and he'll start with having the sniper come over to this window, and from right there he is going to take a shot at this Magmite that has just crawled out of this acid river. He has a +5 shoot against the Magmite's +3 defense, and that isn't enough to get past its armor. Gol'Bloth will then move around in here a little bit to right there, where he can look through this doorway and see the central loot token across, and he's going to attempt break lock on that. He needs a 13. He will empower that for 3. We'll see if any creatures show up from unlocking that, and none show up. So that physical loot is now available for whoever wants to run up there and grab that. And then Lieutenant Vereth is going to activate. He's going to hop over this river, but he actually has to move this way a little bit to get a running start. But 6 inches will get him right over here. And then he is going to use the target lock ability down here. So he wanted to fire it right between these two, but they're actually out of beyond the 16-inch range. So instead he's going to launch it right here between this trooper and this gunner. He needs a 10 to activate this, which he gets. We'll go first against the gunner, +3 against +3. And that hits him with a 17 against 11 armor, and that deals +1 damage because of those powered up grenades. So the gunner takes 7 points of damage and is stunned. And next against the trooper, +3 grenade against +2 defense. And that hits him with a 12 with +1 damage. That is just 2 points of damage on him. And then Vereth will power move over here into this corner. Seeing that this flank is starting to get overrun, this Codebreaker is going to start retreating over here. He's going to run and jump over this 6 inches, and then from right behind that wall, he is going to shoot at this Magmite. He's got a +2 with his shotgun against +4 because of hasty shot, and he missed that. And then this Pathfinder here wants to run away, but he knows there's an opportunity over here to toss a grenade at Lieutenant Vereth. So he's going to run right over here, and from there toss a grenade right here between these two to maybe try to stop some of their grenades from raining down. This is a hasty shot, but he can see the target point, and he normally has a +3, so altogether this is a +4 to hit a target number of 12. So 14, he lands it right where he wants it. Against Lieutenant Vereth, this is a +3 against +4 defense. And he gets a 13 against 11 armor, so that does deal 2 points of damage to him. And against the Grenadier, +3 against +3, another 1. That is a 15, dealing 4 points of damage to him. Well, he at least stunned the Grenadier. Next, this Cyclops Sentry is going to run out of here. He's going to run right over here, and then I rolled to see if he could do a double move, and he failed that roll, so he is just stuck right out in the open there. Then they're going to have their medic run over here and use her Nano repair kit on this stunned gunner. So that cancels his stun and heals 1 health. And then he is going to run over here next to this little crystal outcropping. And then he is going to fire his rapid fire at that Magmite. With the hasty shot, this is a +4 against +4, and he misses. Next, their trooper here is going to fire out this window into this Magmite, so 1 piece of intervening terrain, which makes this a +3 against +4 defense, and that is defended. He will then run out of his protected building there and run right over here by this stairwell, tuck right in there. For the pirates, this Grenadier is going to stand up from his stun, and from there he is going to launch a grenade right at the feet of this Cyclops. So maybe it wasn't the best idea to move this guy out here, but they need to start making some progress, so that's what he did. And this will potentially hit all 3 of these figures here. He can't actually see exactly where the grenade is supposed to land, so it doesn't get that bonus. So he does get a -1 for firing a grenade launcher, so he's got a +2 overall, and that lands right where he wants it. So landing right here, it's a clear shot at the Sentry, but it's light cover for both Basu and the Trooper. Against the Sentry, +3 against +3, and that deals no damage. Then against the Trooper, with light cover, he is a +4 against +3. And that, whether that's a 7 or a 17, that's still defended. And Basu has 6 fights, so +8 total with his light cover against +3, and he defends that. Next, their gunner will run right over here, and he will take a wide open shot at the Pathfinder. With hasty shot, that's a +4 defense against +3 shoot. That hits with an 18, dealing 10 points of damage because rapid fires deal +2 damage. So the Pathfinder is stunned and wounded. Then this Pathfinder here will run up here in front of the gunner, and now he will take a shot. Being stunned and wounded cancel each other out, but it's still a hasty shot, so +4 defense against +3 shoot, and that misses. Then this drone is going to fly over here and attempt to break into this data loot. It's got a +2 will, needing a 14, and it fails. Then over here, these 3 soldiers are all going to start running this way. This hacker failed its will roll, so its single move will only get it to there. Can't make it all the way down to that data loot. This trooper here was actually going to run towards that physical loot. He got to here, but then failed his will roll to move again. And then the chiseler here did succeed on its double move, and it's going to move over here right behind this rock. And then lastly, this trooper with the carbine is going to run right up here, And from the top of that bridge can see that Sentry, and with one piece of intervening terrain, which is General Basu. With the terrain and hasty shot, the Sentry is a +5 against +3 shoot, and the shot misses. And I almost forgot about this burner here. He is going to move this way 5 inches. Then he failed his roll to do a second move, so he will just end his turn at the bottom of that staircase. To the uncontrolled creature phase, this Magmite will activate, and he is closer to this Codebreaker than he is to the gunner. So it will move this way. It gets no penalties for moving through the lava or the acid. So it'll get right there, and then it will attack the Codebreaker. This is a +3 against +3, and the Codebreaker wins with a 19 against 10 armor. It actually has 13 armor, so 6 damage from 10 health. It puts it down to 4, so it is wounded, and then he will push himself out of combat. Initiative for the next round goes to the pirates this time. So Captain Mira will start out the turn by activating by herself. She is going to move over here. And from here, she actually has a clear line of sight under here to General Basu, who's kind of in the shadows there. I guess he does have light cover, however. And she is going to attempt Dark Energy on an 8. Failure by 5. She's here for blood. She is going to exert for 5 on that. So that exertion is a bit risky for her. She's got a +5, and this is a total of +9 due to hasty shot and light cover plus his normal +6. But she's kind of desperate here to take out the Hope Rising. And so that is a 17 against 23, so that misses. And then she is just going to power move 3 inches back around this corner and take cover. Over to General Basu right here. He is going to activate with this Sentry and with this Trooper. And the Sentry is going to start out by firing his shotgun at that Trooper that's down there. He's just within 12 inches. This is just a +2 shot against +2 defense. And that hits with a 20 with +1 damage, dealing 10 points of damage, wounding and stunning that Trooper. So the Trooper goes into the stunned position, and then the Sentry is going to run this way, hopping over this river and hang out right here. Then General Basu is going to run 5 inches this way with a hop. Then he will use coordinated fire on the Trooper right underneath the stairs, needing a 7, which he barely gets. And then General Basu will do a 3-inch power move right into here. Then their Trooper is going to come around the other side of the stairs. And from right there, he has a clear shot at that Trooper up on that bridge. Hasty shot gives the defender a total of +3 against +4 shoot due to coordinated fire. And that is a tie at 11, so no damage. Lieutenant Vereth is now going to activate with the gunner and with this Pathfinder. And the Pathfinder is going to start out by shooting at the stunned and wounded Pathfinder there. So this will be +3 against +3. And the wounded Pathfinder dodges the shot. Then the Pirate Pathfinder will hop up here and just run inside here. And that gives him a nice little vantage point up there. Then the gunner is going to take a shot at that Pathfinder. Again, +3 against +3. And that shot lands with a 16 and +2 damage. That deals 8 damage, taking down the Pathfinder. So with this Pathfinder going down, the gunner will then run over here 5 inches next to that barrel. And then Vereth can actually see through here, and that comes out right over here between Basu and this Sentry, and they're just barely within 3 inches of each other, so he's going to launch a grenade right there. if it hits Basu, he does have light cover there. Vereth needs a 10. He will exert for 2, taking a total of 3 damage with strain. So Basu has light cover from that grenade blast, so he is a +8 against +3. So even with that, the grenade misses. And now against the Sentry, he's just a +3 against +3. And he defends that as well. Vereth, being down to 5 health, will then just run over here to hopefully get some healing from his captain next turn. Gol'Bloth over here in this building is going to activate with this sniper. And this sniper is going to kind of finish climbing his way up this wall, then over to here. So from right there, he can see over this structure here to that trooper down there, and he's going to take a shot with 1 piece of intervening terrain. It's also a hasty shot, so that trooper gets a +4 against +5 shoot. And that is a 19 to a 17, so that is a hit. That deals +1 damage for a total of 9 damage, so that trooper is stunned, but he's not quite wounded with 5 health remaining. Gol'Bloth will then step over here slightly so that he can see through here to the Sentry down there, and he is going to attempt the lift power to move him into combat with that trooper down there. He needs an 11 for this, which he gets. And a 6-inch lift is just enough to get him into combat over there. So there they are, and that will unstun that trooper. For the pirate soldier phase, this stunned trooper will start out by just standing up, and then he will use his 1 action to return fire to the sniper. So he has intervening terrain, and this is light cover since he's up against that terrain up there. So the trooper is a +3 shoot against +5 defense for the sniper, and the sniper defends that. Next, they'll have their drone try to hack into this data loot. He's got a +2, needing a 14, and he hacks into that. And we'll see if a monster appears, and nothing again. So that pops up right next to him, but he can't pick it up because he's used his non-movement action to hack into that, so he'll just wait there. Next, their Grenadier is going to run over here, and from right there, he can launch a grenade up here at this sniper. So this is a hasty shot with a grenade launcher, and he can see the target point, so he gets a +3 total to this. That's only an 8, so he failed by 4 inches that way. So 4 inches in this direction puts it kind of right up in the air. Now the book doesn't really say that the grenade would fall. It just moves 4 inches off in this direction, so it should just blow up in the air here and cause no damage as opposed to falling down on that medic below. This burner is going to move this way, and when it attempted its double move, it failed its will roll, so it will just end its turn right there. Over here, this trooper will choose to do nothing with its activation. This hacker is going to come over here and try to hack into this loot with its +7, and it fails. Next, this chiseler is going to take a shot at General Basu. So this is a +1 shoot against +6 defense, and that is a 15 to a 15, so barely misses. Then the cowardly chiseler is going to run over here to wait for some reinforcements. To the soldiers of the Hope Rising, this Codebreaker here is going to start out by firing his shotgun at that Magmite. He's got a +2 shoot against just +1 defense because the Magmite is wounded, but he misses. And he will then run around the building to right there. Next, they'll have their gunner over here. He actually has a pretty clear line of sight underneath this structure over to this burner. The burner does have 1 piece of intervening terrain, well actually I guess light cover right there next to him. That makes the burner a +5 against +4 shoot, and that misses. The gunner will then run 5 inches this way. He wants to stay more than 3 inches away from that trooper, but that does kind of put him way out, right out in the open. And then this medic is going to run over here. And from this point of heavy cover, she is going to fire at this gunner. That's a hasty shot, and the gunner has light cover, so that puts him at a total of +6 against just +2 shoot. And that misses. For the creature phase, this Magmite can see this Pathfinder up here, so it will use its single wounded action to run 6 inches this way and end its turn. Initiative roll, and that goes to the pirates once again, and there's no numbers divisible by 3, so no more Magmites show up. Captain Mira is going to start out by using the heal power on herself. She needs a 10 for this, and fails by 7, so she will let that fail. And then she will power move and move around here to stay out of line of sight from any shooters. General Basu over here in this cave will then activate by himself. He's not close enough to this Sentry to activate with him. He'll run right up here, and then he will attack this trooper with support. That gives Basu a +8 against just +0 because this trooper is wounded. And he gets an 11, so that deals no damage. Lieutenant Vereth is going to be bold here, and he is going to run over here against that wall, and he is going to use target lock to fire a grenade down here by the gunner. These two are too far away to hit both of them, so he'll aim for the gunner. Activating on a 10, which he gets. That strain puts Vereth down to 7. This is a +3 against +3. And that hits with a 20 against 11 armor. That deals 9 damage. He only had 8 health left, so that turns out to be a good choice for Vereth to run out and do that. For Gol'Bloth up here, he doesn't have a lot of options he can do. He's going to run out of this building, though, and then down into this doorway. And from right there, he is going to attempt heal on himself. He needs a 12. He will exert for 1, so essentially heals 4. To the pirate's soldier phase, this trooper here is actually going to take a shot at this trooper here. He's got a clearer shot at him. The defender has light cover, so he's a +4 against +3 shoot. And he defends that. Then the trooper will run right over here 5 inches. And then they'll have this hacker try to break into that data loot with a +7, and it gets it that time. So that pops up right here. And I'll roll to see if a monster appears, and it does not. Next, their chiseler is going to run down here to block the path of anybody coming after that hacker. Then this burner is going to run up here, and he failed his will roll, so he is going to be a sitting duck to that sniper up there. And this trooper is going to choose to do nothing for its action. Over to this side, this drone will pick up this loot and then will fly off the board, securing the first loot of the game. Next, they'll have their gunner. He'll fire up there at the sniper, who has light cover from his position. So that's a +3 against +5 defense, and that is defended. The gunner will choose to just stand his ground there. Then this Pathfinder is going to shoot up there at the sniper. Again, this is a +5 defense against +3 shoot, and that is a 10, but that does not get past his armor. The Pathfinder is going to move. He's going to run down this ramp over to here so that he's not in view of that Magmite, and then this Grenadier is going to launch a grenade up there, see if he can finally hit the sniper. So he's firing with a grenade launcher, but he can see the target point, so altogether he has a total of +4 to this, and that is a 10. He fails by 2 again, so that blows up kind of right in front of the sniper, so that'll be a +3 against +3, and regardless of what that one is, that would still miss. So after a whole lot of nothing from this group, we'll go over here to this Sentry, who will attack with support. So the Sentry is +5 against +1 for the wounded trooper, and he gets a 19, dealing 8 points of damage, which takes him down. And then this Sentry is going to run over here into combat with this Chiseler. Then we'll go over here to this Trooper, who has a clear shot at this Burner, but has a chance to take down Lieutenant Vereth. And considering their forces are getting depleted, they're going to take the risky move and shoot over here. Vereth has light cover for a total of +6 defense against +4 shoot. And that misses. The Trooper will then hop over this and go right to here. Next, they'll have their Medic fire at this Gunner. And for this shot, she's a +2 against +5 because of light cover. And she lands that with a 20 against a 19, dealing 9 points of damage. That puts him down to 5 health and stuns him. Doesn't quite wound him. And then she is going to run 7 inches over to here. Then their Case Cracker, Codebreaker, who's back here, is going to run up to this position. And they probably should have had this Grenadier run to cover, but I guess I forgot to do that. And the shotgun he's carrying has just enough range to reach him, where the runner's pistol, Medic's pistol, did not. He has a clear line of sight, but it's a hasty shot, so the Grenadier is +4 against +2 shoot. And that is a miss. The sniper up there is now torn between the Burner and the Grenadier. He's going to go ahead and fire at the Grenadier. Perhaps that's why he stayed out in the open, was to give his Burner a chance to live. So this is a +5 against a wide open +3 defense. And that is a 19, dealing 8 points of damage, 9 points of damage, because that rifle does +1. So 9 points of damage. He's at 10, so he goes down to 1. He's wounded and stunned. And if the sniper just stands up here another turn getting shot at, I don't think he's going to get quite as lucky, so he's going to climb down part of this and then drop the rest of the way right onto that barrel there. And to the creature phase, this Magmite can't see anybody from where he is, so he randomly rolled to move this way 6 inches to right there, so luckily it doesn't have a second action to then turn and attack the Codebreaker. We'll make another initiative for the next round. Goes once again to the Pirates, and no numbers divisible by 3. Captain Mira will start out this turn by running around over here, and then power moving right up against those stairs, and then she will attempt drone. She needs a 10 for this. A failure by 7, she will not exert for that. General Basu will now activate with this Sentry, and he'll start out by firing his rapid fire at this Trooper. He can't shoot very well. He's got a shoot of +2 against +2 fight, and he misses that. And after that failure, he is going to run over here to get into combat with this Chiseler to add some support while the Sentry attacks. So the Sentry is +5 against +1, and that is a 22 to 19. The Chiseler has 10 armor, so that is 12 damage. He goes down, and then the Sentry will use his move action to move into combat with this hacker to prevent it from picking up that data loot. Lieutenant Vereth will once again use target lock, and he is going to launch it right over here next to General Basu. Needing a 10 for that, he gets it. So +3 grenade against +6 defense, and that is defended. Next to Gol'Bloth's turn, he is going to come out of this building and then run right over here to this corner, poke his head around, and he is going to attempt destroy weapon on Vereth's grenade launcher. He needs a 12 for this, and he will exert for 5. So Vereth's grenade launcher is destroyed, but he still has his grenades of +1 damage, and that's the only weapon he has besides a knife. To the soldier phase, this Burner is going to run over here, right there, then fire a line of flame at General Basu. With a hasty shot and light cover, Basu is a +9 against +2 shoot, and he defends that. And then their trooper is going to take a shot at Basu. This is a +8 with light cover for defense against +3 shoot, and that is defended. Then the trooper will run up and get into combat with Basu. Up here to this pile of stormtroopers, this wounded Grenadier is going to stand up, and then with his one action, fire a grenade right between the Codebreaker and the Magmite. He can see the target point, but he's firing a grenade launcher, and he normally has +3 shoot, but he's wounded with -2. Altogether, he has a +2 to this. That is a 6. He failed by 6. Failing by 6 this way puts it right over there by the sniper, so it will hit him. From the angle, the sniper has no cover, so he is a +3 against +3. And he blocks that. Next, the gunner will stand up, and then he will use his one action to fire at both the Magmite and the Codebreaker. The wounded Magmite is a +1 against +3 shoot, and it still defends. The Codebreaker has heavy cover, so he is a +7 against +3, and that's a 13 to a 12, so that is defended. The Pathfinder is then going to run right over here onto the other side of that loot, and then he is going to toss a grenade right between those two to see if he hits. This is a hasty throw, but he can see the location, so he gets a +4 total for 10, so he misses 2 inches that way. Well, they're getting some lucky bounces. 2 inches that way is going to put it right over by Gol'Bloth, who will have some light cover there. So that makes Gol'Bloth a +6 against +3 shoot, and he defends. For the crew of the Hope Rising, their Codebreaker is going to start out by firing his shotgun at this Grenadier again. So that's a +2 against +1 because the Grenadier is wounded, and that is a miss. And he will then run over here, staying out of line of sight of that Magmite. Then their medic is going to run over here, hop this river. She can get to right here on 7 inches, and then she can see a straight shot over to their burner. So she's a +2 shoot against +3 defense, +4 defense because a hasty shot, but it still misses. Then this trooper is going to run right in here, and from right in there, he's got a clear shot at the burner. With the hasty shot, the burner is a +4 against +4 shoot, and that misses. And lastly, their sniper over here is going to run over to this corner, and from right there, he has a clear shot through here into that gunner. It's a hasty shot, and the gunner has light cover, so he's a +6 against +5 shoot, and another miss. To the uncontrolled creature phase, this Magmite is closest to this Pathfinder, so it will run over here and force combat with him. And since it's wounded, that's all it can do. Initiative for the next round goes to the pirates again, and that is a number divisible by 3, so they get to place another Magmite on the board. And they're going to place that right down here, so that where it's located, the sniper can't get a clear shot on it, and these two can't really get a good running start to jump over there to help out their friends. Captain Mira over here will activate, and she is going to just power move a little bit over here so that she can see General Basu, and she is going to use Dark Energy. He's just within range of that, and Dark Energy does allow you to target specific figures in combat, but he does have light cover up against that rock. We'll see if that activates on an 8. 6, she is going to exert for 2. With the strain, that puts her down to 7, so this is a +5 attack, and hasty shot and light cover gives Basu a +9 but Mira wants to take him down. And he defends with a 20 against 16. She'll then move back into the cover of this staircase here. And then Basu will activate, and he will just attack this trooper. So Basu's a +6 against +2. And he gets a 13 to 17, so he fails. So with the trooper's knife against 11 armor, that deals 5 damage to Basu, and the trooper will choose to just stay in combat. Then over here to Lieutenant Vereth's turn for the first mate phase. Since he has grenades, he is going to run over here. And he can just barely throw this 6 inches at the feet of Gol'Bloth and the Codebreaker. So he normally has just a +1 shoot because he's got that hook hand from a previous injury. He gets a +2 because he can see the location, but -1 for hasty shot. So +2 total to this. The 16, that lands right where he wants it. So the 6 inches gets it to right here, so Gol'Bloth would still have some light cover right there, but the Codebreaker is wide open. So the Codebreaker is +3 against +3, and that hits him with a 16, and those grenades deal +1 damage. That deals 7 damage and stuns him, and then against Gol'Bloth, he'll be a +6 against +3, and that is a critical hit. So that's a 23. Those grenades deal +1 damage, and then +5 for the critical hit. So against 9 armor, that is 20 points of damage, and Gol'Bloth goes down. With no first mate to activate for the Hope Rising, we go to the Pirates soldier phase. They'll start with this gunner taking a wide open shot at the sniper down there. This is a +3 against +3, and it is defended. Then the gunner is going to run and jump over this and come right to here. Next, since this Grenadier is wounded and only has 1 action, he'll come up here to get into combat with this Magmite, and then the Pathfinder will attack with support. The Pathfinder is a +5 against +1 for the wounded Magmite. That is a 19 to a 20 though, so the Magmite wins. And they have the strong trait dealing +2 damage. So that is 12 total damage to the Pathfinder. He's down to 2 health and is wounded. And then over here, their burner is going to fire a line of flame at this trooper. The trooper does have light cover because he's only about halfway concealed. So the trooper defends with a +4 against +2 shoot. And I guess his flamethrower is actually jammed on that. And then he is going to run over to get into combat with General Basu, and I'll turn his flamethrower around so I remember that it is jammed currently. And with him moving into combat, this trooper will attack with support. That makes the trooper a +4 against +6, and that's an 8 to an 8, so nobody wins. The hacker back here will choose to do nothing for its activation, so it goes to the crew of the Hope Rising. And they'll have their medic that's over here take a shot at Lieutenant Vereth right down here. It's a wide open shot. So she is a +2 against +4 defense. And that is a 12 to 11, so she wins. That only deals 1 point of damage to Vereth though. She will then run through here and get into combat with that burner. Medics aren't that great in hand-to-hand combat, but at least she'll be supporting her general. And then this trooper is going to run out of here. And he will come right around here. And he is going to try to finish off Vereth. He's a +4 shoot, and with hasty shot, Vereth defends with a +5. And that is a 13 with +1 damage. So that deals 3 damage to Vereth, which isn't quite what they wanted to do, but at least he is wounded now with 3 health left. Then I'm going to have this Sentry down here attack this hacker. He's a +3 against +1. And the hacker wins with a 14. And I'd totally forgotten that I had upgraded that hacker robot to a Codebreaker. So he actually has fight +3 instead of fight +1. So altogether, that's going to do 4 damage to the Sentry. And the Codebreaker would push the Sentry out of combat, but the Sentry would then just move back into combat to keep him from taking off with that loot. Then their Sniper is going to run over here. And from right behind that barrel, he has a clear shot down here at this Gunner. With Hasty Shot, the Gunner's a +4 defense against +5 shoot. And that is only a 7, so no luck there. Then their Codebreaker over here is going to stand up from his stun. He kind of wants to run away from this Magmite, but they need to try to stop these enemy forces, so he is going to fire a straight shot underneath this at the Gunner. He's a +2 shoot against +3 defense. And that is an 11 to 21, so once again they miss on their shot. Then we go to the creature phase, where this Magmite runs into combat with the Codebreaker and attacks. So this is a +3 against +3, and double ones. Well, I guess nothing happens there. And actually something does happen there. Magmites have the Lava Splash ability, which means whenever a figure rolls a 5 or less on their roll in hand-to-hand combat, they'll take 2 points of damage, so the Codebreaker is down to 5. Then in the middle of the board, this Magmite will attack the Grenadier because he's down to 1 health. So the wounded Magmite is a +1, and the wounded Grenadier is a +3 with support. The Magmite wins with a 17, dealing 6 points of damage and taking down that Grenadier. Initiative for the next round goes once again to Captain Mira. And both of these numbers are divisible by 3. However, the pirates have placed both of their Magmites already, so the crew of the Hope Rising will finally get to place one. So they really want to put it over here by Captain Mira, but she could easily start to run away from it, where Captain Vereth over here is wounded and is still quite useful with just his grenades, so if this thing can lock him up in combat, then he won't be able to use those. Then Mira is going to do the same thing she did last turn, where she kind of pops out and she will launch some dark energy at Basu again. She needs an 8 for this, which she gets. Again, this is a +5 against +9. And that is a 16 to 15, so Basu defends again. The strain from that puts Mira down to 5. So she really has no choice but to run away here for the time being. Over to here. And then Basu is going to try once again to finish off that trooper. No support bonuses are given for this 2-on-2 situation. Basu is a +6 against +2 for the trooper. And that is a 9 to a 10. The trooper wins. The trooper will just choose to stay in combat, and then we'll have Lieutenant Vereth. He's going to toss a grenade over here at this trooper. He can see the location, but he is wounded, so those cancel out, so he's just a +3 on this. A 5 total, so that grenade is a dud. To the soldier phase, this gunner is going to take a shot at the sniper down there that has light cover. It's a +3 shoot against +5 defense, and that is defended. Then the gunner is going to run through here and get into combat with that Magmite. So the gunner is right there. Then we'll jump over here, and they'll have the burner attack Basu. The burner's a +3 against +6, and he wins with an 11. Deals no damage though. Then the trooper in that combat will attack, +2 against +3, or against +6. Basu wins with a 21 against 11 armor. That trooper was at 5 health, so he goes down. Then there we'll have this Codebreaker, now that I know he's got a +3 fight, attack the Sentry. So this will be a +3 against +3, and that is a critical hit from that Codebreaker. That deals 17 damage to the Cyclops, and the Codebreaker will just stand there to try to pick up that loot next turn. And last for the pirates, this Pathfinder will attack this Magmite. They're both wounded, so this is a +1 against +1, and that goes to the Magmite with a 10. And it deals +2 damage because of the strong trait, plus getting a 5 would cause 2 damage to the Pathfinder. So he takes 4 damage. He only had 2 health left, so he goes down right into that puddle of acid. To the crew of the Hope Rising, the sniper is going to fire a shot at this Magmite. It does have light cover, giving it a +3 against +5 shoot. And that is a 20. That is more than enough to take that thing down. It only had 4 health left, so it crumbles into a pile of rocks. And then the sniper is going to move 6 inches this way, right to there. Over here, this trooper is going to take another shot at Vereth. Vereth is wounded, so he's a +2 against +4 shoot. That is a 21. With +1 damage, Vereth takes 11 points of damage and goes down. Then this trooper is going to run over here and can just barely force combat with this burner. And then the medic is going to attack with double support. And actually, since medics are unarmed in hand-to-hand combat, she'd only be a +4 against +3. She's just going to sit there to support her teammates next turn. Over here, the Codebreaker will choose to do nothing, and so we'll go to the creature phase, and that Magmite will attack him. That's a +3 against +3, and the Codebreaker wins with a 15. The Codebreaker has a knife, so that only deals 1 damage against 13 armor. And then this Magmite is going to attack this Gunner. +3 against +3. And that goes to the Magmite with a 21 with +2 damage. That's 13 damage. The Gunner only had 5 health left. And then this Magmite is going to run 6 inches this way because that Codebreaker is the only figure it can see. Initiative for the next round goes to the pirates again. So Mira will start things out by attempting heal on herself. She needs a 10, a 6. Well, I guess she will exert for 4, bringing herself down to 1 health, then heal 5 to get herself up to 6 health. And she will choose not to move with her second action. And then we'll go over to General Basu, who will activate with both of his companions here. And he's going to go ahead and attack with double support. That makes Basu a +10 against +3. And that is a whole lot of damage. So the burner takes 24 points of damage. He was at full health. Then Basu can just barely get over here to engage this Codebreaker in combat. Then they're going to have their medic run in here to this loot, and she will attempt to unlock that. She's got a +3, needing a 14, and only gets a 9. Then the trooper will double move around here, and he did make his will roll to make that double move, and he will join in combat here. And then this Codebreaker is the last soldier remaining for the pirates, and it is going to go ahead and attack General Basu. It doesn't really stand much of a chance here, but that has been their goal this whole battle, to take him out, so we'll see what happens. Basu with support is a +8 against +3, and Basu rolls a 1. The hacker gets a 13 but deals no, or 11 but deals no damage. And it will choose not to push Basu out of combat because where Basu is right now, if Mira gets lined up, she could hit him with a dark energy blast. The Codebreaker here will choose to just stay in combat and do nothing. And then the sniper is going to run up here. He did make his will roll for a double move, so he can get into contact with this physical loot. Then we'll go to the creature phase. So this one is still at full health, so it will run in first and attack with support. So it's +5 against +3, and that is a 23 with +2 damage. So the Codebreaker takes 15 points of damage. Then this Magmite, now free to move, rolled to randomly move 6 inches this way. And from there, it cannot see what's going on over here through this rock outcropping. Initiative for the next round. And finally, General Basu wins. And that is a number divisible by 3, so he gets to place his other Magmite. And that will pop up right over here to prevent Mira from sticking her head out that direction. Then General Basu will activate with this trooper, and Basu will attack the Codebreaker with support. So Basu's a +8 against +3. And Basu gets a 25, dealing 15 points of damage. So that hacker goes down. Then the trooper will use his actions to pick up this loot that's right there. And then Mira, seeing as her forces have been completely decimated, and she's unable to make any progress with this Magmite, she's seen what those things have done to her other troops. She has no choice but to let General Basu escape, and she will use her turn to run off the board. So the trooper here will acquire that data loot he's carrying, but this physical loot token there, the central loot token that the sniper hasn't quite been able to pick up, and the loot that is still in that box are all unclaimed, so we'll see if the Hope Rising acquires any of those. So they need to roll a 15 or better to acquire these tokens, starting with the physical loot that the medic was trying to unlock. 14, so she does not get that. The central token by the sniper, he does not pick that up. And then the other non-unlocked physical loot token, an 18. So the one loot that's by none of their characters, they're able to acquire that one. Well, things didn't look too good for General Basu's team at the start of that battle. They lost their Grenadier and their Pathfinder before they could really do much of anything. But then they kind of fell back onto their starting location and then regrouped to kind of charge in on the weaker pirates that were on the board. And that seemed to really work well as Basu and a few other soldiers went into hand-to-hand combat. They were able to get 2 loot tokens off the board. And they were able to kind of secure the battlefield at the end. But they did take a lot of losses here. Those 2 falling early, 3 figures falling to their enemies, and then their Codebreaker falling to one of those Magmites. So let's go and roll some survival rolls. For the Sentry, he is fine. Their Grenadier robot, he is badly wounded. Their Pathfinder, he is fine. Their Gunner, he is fine. Their Codebreaker, he is fine. And most importantly, Gol'Bloth gets a 3. So Gol'Bloth ends up with a permanent injury, which is an 11. So that is lost fingers, or maybe lost suction cups since he's a squid. And that will give him a -1 penalty to his shoot stat. For experience points, they gain 30 for participating, 30 for having at least 1 figure fall to 0 health, 50 for 5 powers used that gave them experience points, 40 for taking down at least, well, they took down 4 of the opposing pirates, but that maxes out at 40. They unlocked just 1 of the loot tokens for 20, and then the special experience points for this battle gives 10 total experience points if they take out a Magmite, which they took out 1. They could also gain 20 if they hadn't placed both of their Magmites, but they placed that one on the last turn, which actually kind of helped seal the deal for them, which kind of scared off Mira. So altogether, they gain 180 experience, combined with the 95 they already had, gave them 275. They'll use 100 of that to for Basu to learn the remote firing ability. And then Gol'Bloth chose to increase his health by +1, bumping up to level 7, and that leaves them with 75 experience points left over. For their data and physical loot, this is information worth 200 credits. They could trade that for 20 experience, but 200 credits is a lot, so they'll keep that. And this is an advanced weapon, which is a shotgun that only takes up 1 gear slot. And since neither Basu or Gol'Bloth are using shotguns, they'll go ahead and sell that for 120 credits. And the only thing General Basu is going to do with his credits after this battle is just use 100 to essentially fire and rehire their badly wounded Grenadier robot, so he will be back with full health next battle. That leaves him with 310 credits, and essentially the same team they started with, just a little more experience points, and unfortunately an injury there for Gol'Bloth. For Captain Mira and the pirates, things just did not end up going well. It looked good early on as they took out some of their opposing forces, and they were able to retrieve that one data loot early on, but then I think they were just too spread out, and her entire crew got wiped out. So, 6 of them were taken out by the crew of the Hope Rising, then 3 of them were taken out by those Magmites. So let's go ahead and roll up some survival rules. Starting with their Chiseler with the advanced picks, he is badly wounded. Their Trooper with the Carbine is fine. Their Trooper with the shotgun is badly wounded. Their Codebreaker, he is fine. Their Burner with the upgraded flamethrower is fine. Their Grenadier with grenades of +1 damage is dead. Their Pathfinder, he is fine. Their Gunner, he is fine. And then for Lieutenant Vereth, 7. A 7 is a close call, which means that he loses any of the special equipment that he has, like his grenades of +1 damage. So I guess when his grenade launcher got destroyed, it damaged his grenades as well. And with the loss of their Grenadier, they essentially lost 2 things of upgraded grenades. For experience points, they gain 30 for participating, 30 for having at least 1 figure fall in combat, 100 for having at least 10 powers they successfully used. They successfully used 11 in that battle. They gain 40 for taking down 5 of the Freedom Fighters, 40 for unlocking 2 loot tokens for a total of 240 experience, combined with the 65 they already had, gave them 305 experience points. And they used 300 of that to bump Captain Mira up to level 23, increasing her fight by +1 and lowering the activation numbers for Dark Energy and Heal. We'll see what they get with their 1 loot token. A 17 is a roll on the Advanced Technology 2 table, and a 15 is a neural chip, which gives the carrier a +1 to their will. So I'm not sure yet who I'm going to give that neural chip to, if I want to give it to one of the officers or give it to one of their loot unlockers. So I'll determine that before their next battle. They had 105 credits to work with, and so what they did was they essentially fired their Chiseler and then rehired him as a case cracker, and they would have taken his advanced picks away from him before they got rid of him, and just for game purposes. But for story purposes, he's basically just simply upgraded. Then they added a recruit to fill the slot of their Grenadier that died, and then they're just going to keep this wounded shotgun-wielding trooper for their next battle. I thought this was a fitting end to the story I've had going on throughout these core book scenarios, as I was glad to see a definitive winner on the battlefield. I did find it kind of interesting how much close combat really played a factor in the outcome, as most of my shooting attacks kept failing, but my melee attacks by both the Magmites and all the combats involving General Basu were where most of the action seemed to take place. And this has actually made me kind of rethink how I might plan future crews to focus more on close combat. Although I've now finished the 10 scenarios from the core book, I do plan to add more Stargrave battle report videos at some point in the future. I want to thank you for watching. If you notice any rules I got wrong or have any questions about my gameplay, let me and the community know in the comments below, as my goal with these videos is to create an accurate representation of how to play Stargrave. And if you're enjoying this content, feel free to click like or subscribe so you can keep up with all the content that I'm releasing. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.